So recording is on. Welcome to the first of the Graduate Academic Writing Summer Workshop Series. We're going to be talking about citation managers today. And I'm going to see. Okay. All right. Is everybody seeing the presentation? So, okay, great. All right. So as I said before we started recording, I'm going to do the recording for the presentation and the demo part itself. And then I will turn off the recording. So if you want to wait to ask questions until after the recording is stopped, that is fine. If you do have a question that you just want to jump in with, that is also okay. So citation managers, what are they and why do you need one? So what is a citation manager? So citation managers are software tools that allow you to mostly collect, format, organize, and share a collection of citations. All citation managers that I know of allow you to collect, format, and search. Now, most citation managers also have browser plugins to collect web info. So whether you are wanting to cite a web page, so maybe like a New York Times article on the New York Times site, or maybe it's a journal article or a book, but it's on the publisher's website. So a lot of citation managers have these browser plugins that you can put in Chrome or Firefox or Safari. And when you click on it, it will collect the info from the page that you're looking on. They allow you to organize citations. So this might be, you can set up folders. That's the most common way of doing it. A lot of them allow you to share citations. Now, depending on the product, you might be able to share just the citation info itself, or you might also be able to share PDFs, at least with a small group. And then a lot of them also have plugins for your word processor. The most common ones are Word and Google Docs these days. I've also seen some that have LibreOffice, which is the open source Word Office equivalent. And you get a plugin, and it just becomes part of your toolbar within Word or whatever. There are also a number of them that have extra features. Something that is becoming more and more common is a built-in PDF reader that allows you to highlight and annotate the PDFs. A lot of them, you can also export the information that you've put in. So for instance, I use Zotero because it allows me to export collections of citations into a spreadsheet where I can do citation data analysis. There are also plugins in some cases for the citation managers themselves that allow you to collect or display more info. For instance, there is a product called Scite, S-C-I-T-E, and that is a tool that looks at the context of citations. And so it's not just how many times was this cited, but was it cited positively, negatively, or neutrally? Um, and in Zotero, at least, you can get a plugin that will display the little Scite info box for each citation. So you can see how often it's cited and at least generally what context. Um, uh, they also vary on how much of the citation work you can do entirely online or entirely offline. There are some that work entirely on the web. Um, Most products, though, have a desktop software portion and may have a an online aspect to them. Um, and this is the kind of thing that I recommend you think about when you go about trying to decide which one you want to use. Um, think about what you actually need it to do. Some good features that way to look for include does it support tagging and are those tags searchable? This is a really useful feature. Um, Again, the built-in PDF readers, and especially if you can get one where the annotations that you make can be exported in some format. So maybe as a Word document or at the very least that you can copy and paste things. Um, Most tools these days have a very wide range of citation styles available. I think Zotero is still the top one. They say 9,000 plus styles, which is, I mean, it's totally ridiculous that there are 9,000 citation styles. I will say that most of them are variations on each other. Like they're a couple dozen variations of APA. Um, uh, but those are you know, um, when you need a specialty citation format, if you're publishing in a journal or something like that, it is very nice to know that you can get that citation style from the citation manager that are looking for. Um, the limitation that I have seen has mostly been the paid services. If you don't have one of the higher subscription levels, you are limited to the major ones. And the major ones are usually APA, MLA, Chicago, Harvard, maybe a few other ones. Um, um, and then most of these are available for both Windows and Mac. A few are available for Linux. Um, if you do use an older version, you want to double check what versions that the software will run on. If you're using something a little odder for your browser, you want to make sure that if there are plugins that you can use those. Um, and then the last thing I wanted to put on here is that if you are working with a group, um, a lab, a research team, um, a just group work of some sort or another, you do want to check what the sharing restrictions are. Um, some of them, for instance, I think it's pretty common that you can share citations and PDFs in a group as long as it's smaller than about 5 people. That seems to be around the limitation. Some of them are a little less, some of them are a little more, but that seems to be around the number. If you could get a bigger group, then you can still share the citations, but you can't share the files. Um, uh, and honestly, I think that file collection is one of the nicer bits of these tools because it allows you, in a way, to create your very own library. And that is definitely one of the good things about these tools. Um, it will be your library that you are interested in, um, and the stuff that you are actually using. Okay, so that's the overview. So now it's time for a little bit of demo. I'm going to close that, go to the browser. Um, so the first one that I'm gonna go a little bit more in depth, mostly with two of them. Zotero, and I will be right up front with this. Zotero is my citation manager of choice. So this is the one I have installed on my computer. I will warn you that it is usually best to only have one of these installed on the computer, or at least one that you're using actively. Sometimes they argue with each other, especially if you've got plugins in your word processing software. Um, uh, I did have Zotero and Mendeley installed in Word, and I ended up having to take one of them off because they just got into arguments with each other about what it was doing, and then my citations would get mixed up. So Zotero is 100% free. The only time that you would need to pay anything for it is if you want to upgrade your cloud storage for your files. And it took me 7 or 8 years of using it very actively for big projects before I ran out of space. um, so for your average graduate program, you are not going to run out of space. um, 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 and a lot of this is because I teach it, so I have these weird collections. I advise people, so I'm partnering with people, so I'm using a lot more of the file space than usual. Most people do not have to worry about this at all. Um, it is a desktop software, so you do download the software. It's available for Mac, Windows, Linux, and iOS. They have their very own iOS app for it. And I also did want to point out, as they have here on the website, they do have a web page that will allow you to do quick bibliographies. It's called Zotero Bib, and the address is just zbib.org. And it's a very nice, it still has access to those 9,000 plus citation styles. You look things up by title or URL or DOI, pull everything together and copy and paste your work. Very handy if you just need to send somebody a formatted citation in an email or something like that. So I will be showing off mine, but this is definitely a good indication of what it looks like. You have your folders on the left, the info list in the middle, and then the individual info on the right. It is very easy to collect. There's a browser plugin. It's actually kind of cute because it changes the icon depending on what you're looking at. So if you're looking at a book, it has a little book. If you're looking at a thesis, it has a little graduation cap. It's really kind of cute. You get to organize it 100% your way. There's no there are a few default folders, but for the most part, you're going to be doing this yourself. You can tag with keywords. You can create saved searches. You can associate citations as well. So, two papers written about the same study, you can associate them, and then you can always find them really easily. You can cite in Word, LibreOffice, and Google Docs. as well as copy and paste from the software into anything. Um, it has cloud storage, which you are not required to use, by the way, but it does make a very convenient way of backing up your database, um, your library. So and then you can also log into their website and access your citations, though it's somewhat limited what you can do with them through the online system. Um, you can collaborate. Um, so, for instance, you can make a group and let other people put additions into the group. So you can make a collaborative uh, bibliography. Um, and Zotero is also open source, and it's developed by an independent nonprofit organization. Um, they have a very good reputation in the scholarly open source community. Uh, and that is one of the reasons that they are my favorite. Though honestly, the functionality of I believe they have the widest range of import and export options as well. So that's very nice. Speaking of imports, one thing I should mention is none of this software will let you say take a Word document that you already have with your bibliography and just import it that way. Um, uh, Zotero, the development community, says it's a perennial request that people are always having, but because citation styles vary a lot, the accuracy of citation styles in use varies a lot. They have found that they just cannot get enough um, accuracy to be comfortable making it part of the actual system. There are a few ways that you can get things in a little easier. Um, and if this is something that is going to be an issue for you, please let me know, and we can discuss that. There are some tricks and tools and things. Okay, so that is the basics of Zotero. The other one that I wanted to talk about is Mendeley. These are the two I think that are used most commonly on campus. So these are the two I'm going to focus on today. Mendeley started as also an open source independent project, and it was bought by the publisher Elsevier that makes our databases ScienceDirect and Scopus. So one of the things is that it works very well with those databases. Importing and exporting is very, very easy. They have a slightly different aspect. You still have the software that you download and use on your computer. You can use it with your word processor and all that, but they have an extra layer in their cloud services that works kind of like a social network. So you can actually, everything that you save gets added to this gigantic database that they have, 100 million articles. Um, um, And there is a whole social network component, so you can follow people and see what they're collecting, what their research is. Um, uh, you can create groups and follow topics and things like that. So that's all available. And if you are interested in getting into sort of an active research community, that can be a very useful aspect to it. You like with Zotero, you can add papers directly from your browser, import documents from your desktop, get um, into your library through the web. It works on Windows, Mac, and Linux, and a wide variety of browsers. Um, um, I'm not sure what their actual count is. I think the last time I looked, they were advertising like about 6,000 citation styles, which again is just absolutely ridiculous. I do know, though, that you can actually add citation styles. So if there's something really obscure that you need and somebody else has developed a citation style for it, you can import that as well. Um, and they have they have a couple of associated products. The Mendeley Reference Manager is their desktop software, and that allows you to store your references. It has a notebook feature, so you can have highlights and notes from your PDFs. And there's a citation plugin. They work especially well with Microsoft Word. Um, so this is the plugin. Um, they work mostly with Microsoft. So if you're not using the Microsoft Office, this is probably not the best one for you to use, but if you are using it, then it's great. They also have the web importer. I'm currently in Chrome, so that's what it's providing me with the link for. But it does have they do have other plugins for other browsers. One thing that is very interesting is this bit. So they will actually double check whether or not you have sort of the most current or the most official version of something, and you can retrieve that info. So if you found like a preprint version, an author manuscript or something like that, it's very easy to um, make sure that you've got the most recent version. Um, so that is a nice option as well. Um, okay, so as I had mentioned, my I use Zotero. Um, and this is my Zotero. I have a huge number of folders. Groups are the folders that you share with other people. So I have a whole bunch of groups because I worked on a whole bunch of projects with people. Um, and for each of these, you can get the info. If you have the PDF, you can just open the PDF and you can copy. This is an image. So I took an image of this one, and I think somewhere in here, I highlighted something. I can also just add a note to it as well. And when I go into my listing again, one of the things that I can do is I can add a note from the annotations, and that is this. So here's the picture that I copied. This I when I was setting this up, I thought that this article had pictures, had graphs in it or something, but it doesn't. So I just took a picture of the title. But here are two quotes. And you'll notice that it comes with the in-text citation as if I was going to pop it right into a paper. So I could actually do that. I actually use this for a writing technique that the author of the book Second Brain calls progressive summarization. And that is you pull info or quotes out of the documents that you're going to be citing, pop them into a working document, organize them, uh, paraphrase or summarize, see how they group together, and then summarize your summaries. So that's the progressive summarization, so that you group things together. This is especially good for literature reviews where you might have, a particular point that 5 papers have contributed to. And the nice thing about this is that since each of my quotes has the in-text citation attached to it, when I'm copying and pasting, it's really easy to make sure that I actually keep track of all of that. Um, um, I'll point out a couple of other things. Pretty much all of the major citation managers have a deduplication feature. So it doesn't matter if you collect the same paper over and over again as you're doing multiple searches, because you can just click on them, check to see if they look more or less the same, pick the one that you like, and merge the 2 items. And now I only have one version of this. If you may find some weird bits. So this one was kind of interesting. So I've actually got 3 versions of this. And we can see it here, one of them has a different set of authors than the other. And it looks like what happened was one of them, this one, somehow or another, all the authors got reversed. And so that was an import flaw that happened. And so I would not want to use this one. Well, actually, what I would want to do is I would want to go and check the actual publication. And so, for instance, there's a URL here or the DOI, and I can just click on that and hopefully it will go there. I know my internet's really slow today, so I'm not quite sure why it's not coming up, but usually that comes right up. um, um, and I can check the real publication and make sure that which one of these has the correct authors. Either this earlier one that I think this is probably the first publication, and the second one, which was from several months later, maybe a more recent one. But it could also be a preprint that I found later on. And for some reason or another, one of these has incorrect authors. So what I would want to do is I would want to merge them, but I need to identify which is the correct one first. Yeah. So that is that's an issue, something to look out for. So I have a lot of folders. There's also an unfiled collection, which for me is fairly large. These are mostly things that I've imported randomly, doing demos for people, or for Zotero, if you are using the browser importer plugin and you don't have the software on the computer, you can tell it that you want it to import it into your online version, and then you have to log in and all of that. But it doesn't put it in folders. If you're importing into the desktop version, it will put it in a folder. So a bunch of these are things that I haven't gotten around to putting in the folders that they're supposed to be in. Um, there's also a My Publication option, so you can collect your own info. And this is very cool. Zotero, and I believe Mendeley is doing this as well, EndNote and a few of the other big names. Um, if you have an item in your little database that either is retracted when you first put it in, or it becomes retracted later on, it gets flagged. Um, now, whether or not you cite a retracted article depends on the reason that it was retracted and exactly how you're using it. So it's not that you necessarily want to get rid of these, but you do need to know that something is retracted before you cite it. You may want to address this in your write-up. Why it's still an important um, article for the topic, or that sort of thing. Or maybe you want to comment on the retraction in your write-up. So knowing that it's been retracted is very important. And this is something that I highly recommend that you look for. If you choose a citation manager that does not flag retracted items, I would suggest before you finalize your write-ups that you check for retractions for at least all of the important papers that you're basing your work on. Okay. So Um, so that's Zotero. Mendeley is very similar, and as I said, it's usually not the best idea to have too many of these on your computer at once. So I'm only going to demo Zotero tonight. If you have questions about which one should you choose and all of that, that's probably best addressed with a one-on-one conversation with me. And I'm very happy to have those conversations with you. There are a lot of other citation managers out there, including AI-powered ones. This one is an AI-powered writing and citation app. I tested it. It's recently changed its name. I did do some testing with it in its previous incarnation. I will say that I would take this document writer statement with a very large grain of salt. The best paper you'll ever write. I have my doubts. um, um, Not to say that these writing things are not useful, but there are definitely caveats about using these things. And if people are interested in AI-powered research tools, let us know. I could definitely do something later on in the summer if that would be something of interest. As you can see from this screenshot, it looks very similar. Honestly, they all look very similar at this point. You have your list of your folders, you have a list of what's in that folder, and then you have individual info. Um, Annotations, because this is AI powered, you can get it to do annotations for you. Whether that's going to be useful or not probably depends on the article and your topic and what you're looking for. You can also annotate it manually. And it has a research assistant that helps you find materials. I am personally a little skeptical about this sort of thing because I think honestly that you're probably better off picking tools that focus in on each of these options rather than trying to get a single tool that does all of them well. Um, I just have my doubts that any one of these tools is going to do all of this stuff really well. Um, I did want to point out one of the other benefits of Zotero being an open source platform is they are incorporated into a lot of other tools. So this one is called Research Rabbit, and it is a AI assisted um, network uh, tool. So, for instance, um, I have this list of works, and it can find me this little network related to the materials that I have and the materials that are by the same authors that cite each other, etc. And one of the things that I can do with this is to import a Zotero collection to make my starting collection. Um, so there are a lot of tools that, because Zotero is open source and they make their API available to everybody, they can other tools can incorporate Zotero in. So if this is the kind of thing that you're interested in, that would be another reason to go with Zotero. Um, okay. Um, so that is it for the presentation. Um, I will turn off the recording in a moment and open up the floor to questions. If you want to get in touch with me, email is a great way of doing it. Uh, I am also most active these days on LinkedIn and Blue Sky. If you are interested in connecting that way, those are the ones that I share the most kind of professional research and library related stuff. Okay, so let me